Well, they closed down the mill and they closed down the mine. They said you can't work but pay your taxes on time. Got 3 little babies gonna starve to death or freeze. We started making white lightning, it was Grandpa's recipe. Run, rebel, run, run to no avail. Run, rebel, run to the Scott County Jail.
Hey everybody, happy Thursday 2025. You're watching live here on the Jailhouse Informant video podcast.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. Yes, as Miranda said, welcome to 2025. We are so excited. We've got a lot of things coming up this year. We're going to talk about some of the exciting things we did last year and how we're going to kind of roll into this new year and kind of some of the things that we've got planned. But thank you all for being here. Hope everybody had a great holiday season. And happy New Year.
Yeah, and thank you all for tuning in at this special later hour than what we typically do. Usually I'm doing my podcast at this time, but we wanted to partake in some of the football games a little bit earlier. And since the game was delayed till tonight, we kind of delayed our podcast and watched a little bit of that. So again, thank you all so much for tuning in. We weren't here last week because of the Christmas holiday, but the week before that, hopefully you watched the show and you saw where we had Chad Shepard on the show from Offbeat Horror. And we're going to be talked to him a little bit that night about his convention that's coming up, which we're going to talk about here in just a few minutes. But if you missed that episode, hopefully you'll go and check it out.
Yeah. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about a few things that we have coming up, a few things that we had that we're really excited about last year that happened. And then we're going to highlight some interesting pieces of evidence from the historic Scott County Jail. A couple of them have not been shared yet. If you've read the comments on some of our teams that posted, they did post some of their evidence, but we're going to highlight it. So we're really excited about that. We've got 3 or 4 very cool pieces that we're going to highlight and just kind of let you know that the jail is extremely active right now. We've got some really cool evidence, even on the day tours. People are hearing things and they're coming down and saying, hey, I think I've heard something on the 2nd or the 3rd floor. So if you have not booked an investigation or you want to return and do an investigation at the historic Scott County Jail right now, it's a great time to take advantage of that because 1, it is active, and 2, we have the extended hour offer if you book between now and daylight savings time ends.
Yeah, I believe that's March 9th.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
We're offering investigations every single night of the week, not just Thursday through Sunday, like what we usually do year round. We're offering it every single night. And when you book, you will get the jail from 7:30 p.m. to 4 a.m., which is really a great deal. A lot of people, whenever they come and investigate the normal hours, they end up spending a lot of time usually getting some pretty cool stuff, but getting that extra bit of time in there kind of goes a long way. So you can definitely go on, you can book that. StreamYard's kind of changed a few things around here. You can definitely go in and you can book all of that from our website there. Flashlight tours, we've got those running every single night of the week. I think we've pushed the time back on those to, I believe, 6 p.m. Eastern time, I believe, is what we've got running since we're kind of got that extra dark hour. If that way, if somebody does book and they want to, we could actually run 2 tours a night there. We're also got ghost hunts. We've got those up through the dark months. And then, of course, with Historic Rugby After Dark, you can go on to historyhighwaysandhaunts.com and you can book one of our lantern. Actually, on our lantern tours, you have to call us on those because we don't have those. Since those are outside walks, we don't have a calendar up for those, but we're still offering those every single night of the week. And we've actually had meetings with Rugby, and we're going to be offering them during the day as well, if you so choose to do that. We're even talking about offering investigations during the day at Rugby as well as here.
Yeah. So if you haven't been to Rugby or you don't know much about it, like Miranda said, just go to the website because, again, it's another location that is pretty active. I had a flashlight tour there last weekend, and we caught some really interesting things, especially in the schoolhouse. So it was a rainy night. The tripwire was going kind of crazy for the family that was there because we just do a little session inside the schoolhouse. But take advantage of this because it's a really cool opportunity.
And both Rugby and the jail are active day or night. Sometimes the activity is a little bit different during the day, but both locations are relatively, as far as outside contamination, is relatively quiet during the day, but at night, during the investigations, they're pretty active during the day as well. So something kind of unique for those that maybe are like us that work on the weekends and maybe want to take advantage of doing something in the middle of the week, in the middle of the day.
Yep. So we're just going to run through a couple of things that we were really excited about that happened last year. And if you have a favorite memory from last year that involved the Historic Scott County Jail or Historic Rugby After Dark or even Sally the Jail Cat, go ahead and put them in the comments. We'd love to hear what you thought was some of our highlights from 2024. We had a lot of new exhibits that we opened up. We had Paracons. We were speaking at different conventions and stuff like that. So we're just going to kind of run through. I think Miranda has the list.
Yeah, I can't look at the list and pull up comments too. So I was trying to get through that because I know we had pulled all that up on the screen. So we're just trying to make sure to get everyone pulled up here. Again, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. So before we get to some of the things that we've done in the past year, I kind of want to talk about some of the events that we've got coming up here early on. Like I said, we did have Chad on the show last week, and we were talking about his event that he's got going on here. Let me get that pulled up. And that is the Offbeat True Crime and Paranormal Expo. That's going to be taking place next weekend, which is January 11th. I think it starts at 2 p.m. Central Time. And that's going to be there in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's got some great guests, as you can see from the poster there. I know Chris and I are both honored to be a part of that. We'll be there representing the historic Scott County Jail, as well as Ghost Biker Explorations, Soul Sisters Paranormal, and Historic Rugby After Dark. And we'll have merchandise from each of those different things there. And let me actually pull up on that one. I'm going to pull up the link to where you can get tickets to that as well. That's going to be taking place at let's see, it's the Capitol Theater, I believe. Yeah, the Capitol Theater that's there in Bowling Green. And tickets you can get the individual tickets for the convention itself, the VIP, and then also the Ghost Hunt. I think each of those are sold separate. And I think it would be advised, from what Chad says, to purchase those in advance, just so you can make sure you get your spot secured. Yeah, so if you're in the Bowling Green area next Saturday, we'd love to see you. Come by, say hello, talk to some of the great speakers and vendors that are going to be there. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's probably going to be very cold. All the forecasts are having some extreme temperatures coming into our area for the next week or so. But bundle up and come out and see us and have a really good time next Saturday. Yeah, and so skipping ahead there to, let's see, I'm trying to make sure that I'm not pulling the same things up. Skip ahead past February. We don't at this time have any events booked there for February, but if we skip on over to March 29th to be exact, is the Vet City Con. This is also Chad Shepard and Offbeat Horror that puts this on, and it's presented by Scarefest Weekend. It's going to be taking place up there at the National Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, and I think it's a longer convention. I believe this one starts early in the morning at 9 or 10 Central Time. You can find all the information about that on offbeathorror.com, and they've got all the information as far as all of the guests that are going to be there. I know he's got a lot of different celebrities, and so of course Chris and I are going to be there for that as well, and looking forward to that.
Yeah, so that's March 29th. Again, just look for all the ticket information, and that's another Bowling Greens event that we'd love to see you at if you're in the area.
Yeah, and then moving on into April, I'm going to be a part of Enigma Cons, which is put on by Bedford Paranormal, and it's taking place there at St. Albans Sanatorium there in Radford, Virginia. And it's got, of course, community vendors that are going to be there, as well as different speakers, and then a paranormal investigation that night. This is going to take place there at St. Albans. So you can get those tickets off the St. Albans, Virginia website. So www.stalbansvirginia.com. That's a fun weekend. This is going to be my 4th year being a part of that. I know we've got a couple of the event organizers there in the chat room here from Bedford Paranormal. So we thank you for allowing me to be a part of that. And then one more final one before we get to our year-end breakdown, and that is going to be taking place in May, and that's the Wisconsin Cryptids, Anomalies, and Paranormal Convention put on by Wisconsin Caps, which is Barnaby Jones and his team. That's going to take place Mother's Day weekend, May 9th through 11th, with Friday night being the VIP dinner and Bigfoot hike. And then on Saturday, they'll have the convention. And that, of course, will have the speakers and the vendors. And I think they're having a gallery reading as well. And then on Sunday, they're doing a 2-part paranormal investigation. They're breaking it up into the first investigation, I think, is from noon until 4. And then the second group will be able to investigate that location from 5 to 9. I don't know that they've disclosed the location yet that they're going to be having the investigation at, but really excited to be a part of that one as well. And so I know that from what Chris and I have been talking about, there will be other events and other things that we have planned on the schedule that we'll be putting in there. So that's just a little something about what's going on between now and Mother's Day weekend in May, along with all of our other walks and tours and guided ghost hunts and investigations.
Yep. A lot going on. So again, we had a great year in 2024. Thank you for everybody who's put your comments on there. I know I quickly saw Rochelle jumped on and said that, she caught some really great things during her investigation here. I think Sonia said that catching the shadow figure during our live there when I was in Virginia and Miranda was here by herself. Yeah, that was a great capture. So everybody keep putting the comments in there because we really enjoy seeing those. But yeah, so 2024 was really a great year for us. It was we celebrated our 3rd year anniversary with the historic Scott County Jail. We were able to get some interesting things on the schedule as well. So let's see, what do we have?
Yeah, so
going through some things.
Yeah, so just we kind of broke everything down based on month, and this is just a really rough thing that we've got broke down here. But so in January, we kicked the year off with, we were highlighted on the TV show, PBS TV show, Tennessee Crossroads, with host Joe Elmore, who unfortunately he did pass this year. And he had been hosting that show for nearly 40 years, which, if you're here in the Tennessee area, was a staple within the community of Middle and East Tennessee. So we were really honored to be highlighted on that show back in January. big thing in February as well. We got the keys to the bank building, which we're sitting in here right now.
Yeah, this is a great historic little building. If you have not been here yet to do an investigation or just come to visit us, this building was built in 1909. It was the bank up until the Great Depression, and then they did close it and turn it into a medical clinic. And then after that, for an extended period of time, they did turn it back into a bank. You can see the vault right behind us here that's stocked full of safety deposit boxes and such. And then it was the bank up until COVID. And then First National Bank decided to close it during COVID. And they did gift the bank to the town of Huntsville. And Huntsville turned around and graciously allowed us to use it because of what we have done with the historic Scott County Jail. So it's been a great addition to what we do here. It allows us to do some different walk options, highlight some different history that really isn't in reference to the jail, but more into Scott County and Huntsville itself. It allowed us to move our ticketing counter up here, move our gift shop up here. And so now Sally is also a bank cat, not just the jail cat. So she has 2 homes. So it was a really, really great get for us. And we're really excited about it.
Yeah. And so fast forward till we were able to actually get moved in here because we were so busy leading up to it. But we did get the keys there in February, which was a really big thing for us. Mm-hmm. In March, Chris was able to speak there at the Tennessee Association of Museums big convention that they had in Middle Tennessee. I think it was over there in Lebanon, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And you want to talk just a little bit about that?
Yeah. So as most of you know, if you've been following what we do here, historic preservation is a big deal for us, especially historic preservation through After Dark tourism. And this is something that I've been heavily researching from more of an academic and research mindset to really get the gauge of historical locations and their prevalence of using After Dark tourism for historic preservation. So I actually did a nationwide study of 680 different museums and historic sites throughout the country. And I did work that into a very interesting presentation that was accepted for presentation at the Tennessee Association of Museums in March. So I was very honored to be able to speak on that. And it is one of those things that we are both extremely passionate about. To be able to take it more from a research perspective and really mirror what we do here at the jail and how it fits holistically, both with the research knowledge as well as the practical knowledge of what we're doing here. It was really an honor to be able to speak to that. And it's something I continue to speak on. So if you have any locations in your area that are willing to consider historic preservation through After Dark tourism, I'd be glad to share all of that information with you. So just get in touch with us. But that is something that I was really really researched in depth last year. So it was really cool to kind of speak on that.
Yeah, and that was really coming on the heels of, because last year we had received 4 awards from the Tennessee Association of Museums. So it was really cool to be able to follow that up with Chris's presentation to really show how not only really how we utilized that with what we're doing here. And so April was a really busy month for us. It was kind of kicking off a busier time for us. We were back on our normal schedule that we have now. And we had our 3rd annual Blessing of the Bikes event, which we partnered with the Christian Motorcyclist Association. And we did the Jacksboro chapter. This was their 3rd year coming over. And well, there you go.
I think Shelly may have unplugged the light. Maybe not.
No, I don't think so.
All right, we'll just move this little light. Stand by. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, actually, I'm just going to plug this in. This is going to make for a little bit of a...
Shelly's like, don't blame me.
Not really sure why that cut off. But anyways, let me just unplug that. Okay, so we had our Blessing of the Bikes. We had more bikes that year than what we had in years past. So just going to show that working to get the word out really, really helps. And so we thank those of you that did attend that. I hope you will attend this year because we are going to be doing that again this year. And then we had an influx of school groups from all over the county come. Some of them were part of the high school, some were elementary school. They participated in the escape rooms. They took tours of the jail, learning about the history of the jail. And then there was actually a couple that came and did night tours of the jail as well, not just hearing the history, but also hearing the paranormal happenings. And then also haunted discoveries. Not sure what's going on here.
On a mission.
Okay. And then of course, haunted discoveries that had filmed at the jail last year. They filmed at our other location, Historic Rugby, and they were filming there for a full week. So that episode will be coming out here in early 2025. We're sitting here on the edge of our seats waiting to hear when that episode is going to air, because hopefully maybe a cool event planned around that. But they did film there for a full week. So that was really cool.
And, just to sidetrack a little bit, if you have not watched the Haunted Discoveries, we are going to be sharing a clip from them tonight if you have not watched their episode at the Historic Scott County Jail. And we will be sharing a link where you can watch the full episode, because we're very proud and excited about that. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in the show. But definitely follow Haunted. Now what are you doing? Oh, goodness. Definitely follow Haunted Discoveries, because some really exciting things are coming up with regard to both the jail and Historic Rugby After Dark.
Yeah, we have a spirited cat, not a spirit in here, a spirited cat. In May, we again, a lot of investigations and tours that month, but we had our first event of the year, our first event that we traveled at, and that was the paranormal meet and greet there in Franklin, Kentucky at the Old Stone Jail. We were honored to be a part of that with multiple paranormal locations here in the East Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and Southern Kentucky regions. That was definitely a fun event too. Wow, she is on it tonight.
She is. You're going to hear a loud crash in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, she's about to knock a bowl off. There we go. And so so that was really cool to be a part of that event, to be able to connect with the other location owners as well as different folks who had investigated those locations. And so that was our May. June was
busy. June was really busy.
It was a busy motorcycle month too. We had our big Rolling Through History motorcycle ride. I had the opportunity to lead that as Ghost Biker. We actually had a sold out event and it started down in Harriman, Tennessee. And so I think it was about a 98-mile motorcycle ride. We had a lunch stop at R.M. Brooks General Store over in Rugby, and went through the Big South Fork, circled around, and ended with a tour of the jail. And we had people from all over the region that came. I think we even had some from Central Alabama that rode up the night before and then continued their ride and went back the next day. We had some from Southern Kentucky, and I think we had one or two from North Carolina that came over. So we're hoping to do more. We were going to do a couple more rides this past year, but the weather was really wonky and we got really busy with that. So we're actually sitting here this month planning out some dates and some rain out dates to hopefully have motorcycle rides every month here at the jail, starting during our spring season and running all the way through November. We also had multiple motorcycle groups visit the jail. Several, the defenders, a lot of retired officers, law enforcement officers, groups came, took tours of the jail, and it was really cool to be included as part of their tours or as part of their ride stop whenever they were traveling through the area. I think we had about 4 or 5
bigger groups.
Groups.
I mean, at least 10 or more, which to us is pretty big.
Yeah.
So we do appreciate if you do ride motorcycles, we do appreciate that, bringing your groups in, and we're always welcoming our bikers.
Yeah, and if you are a biker and want to get a group together, we can help you. If you want to join us on one of our rides, that's great. But if you're not available to join us and you want to organize your own ride here, get with us and we can give you some recommendations of some great lunch stops and some great roads to ride in the area if you'll include us as your stop. We also there in June, we had partnered came and talk with the Tennessee State Museum out of Nashville. This was our second year doing that. We partnered with them, their teachers seminar, continued education. It's really cool because used to in the past, they would do these events. They're out of Nashville. For a teacher to have continued education, they would have to travel pretty far. But they were doing this outreach program to rural areas where they would come in and partner with museums. And we were lucky to be a partner with them. This was our second year. And I think we had 6 or 7 different teachers that came to that event and represented multiple schools here in the region. And that was really cool to be a part of that.
Yeah. Rolling into August last year, we had a lot of interesting things happen as well. We had the Appalachian Storyteller. He did a small documentary on the jail and its history. And we had some great responses from that. He has a great audience, and they were very receptive when he put out the call to come and visit the jail. I think probably 25% of the people who bought tickets after that to come and visit the jail said that they heard about us from him. So the outreach from different influencers and YouTubers really does help with what we do. J.H. Gason had a book release. Now, we had his original story about the quest for Rome with regard to the Jerome Boyett story here that took place in 1933. He did a re-release of that book, and it was to really great fanfare because he added a lot of special things in the second release, such as locations of where some of the events actually took place. He put the coordinates there.
Were they buried?
Yeah, some cemetery locations where some of the characters in that story are actually buried. So it's a great re-release of that book. So we're really excited to carry that in our gift shop as well as our online store. And that was the release of the Haunted Discovery episode where the historic Scott County Jail was highlighted. We cannot thank Brandon Alvis and Kevin Audi and Mustafa Galalori. We cannot thank them enough for highlighting us and coming and visiting the jail and really doing a thorough investigation here. So we're going to highlight some of the stuff that they captured here in just a few minutes, but we're very much honored to be a part of Haunted Discovery and their tour that they're doing through Kentucky and Tennessee.
Yeah, and speaking of J.H. Gason and his re-release, that book actually came at the perfect time because he was really highlighted and did a beautiful job speaking about some of the stories of the jail there in the Haunted Discoveries episode. And so if you saw that, which I know some of you all did, you saw what we're talking about on that. And then, of course, in September, we had our 3-year anniversary from when we opened. And it's really cool because at that point, like I said, we've won multiple awards. We've had, at this point in time, right around 150 paranormal teams that have come and investigated here. 2 locations now under our belt. A lot to be accomplished within those 3 years, and looking forward to 2025 and the new exhibits and the new things and the new stories to tell. We're really excited about this. And we had multiple festivals and events that we kicked off in September in Kentucky, as well as in the East Tennessee region here. I think we had an event just about every weekend. The Tennessee Department of Tourism and I cannot read my writing. Okay, mentions. I thought it was part of a title. I was scribbling all this while the game was going on, and apparently something must have happened in the game, and I got a little frustrated. The Tennessee Department of Tourism released an article and mentions the jail and rugby in top locations to visit, top haunted locations in Tennessee to visit. That's released in September.
Yeah, and then of course October. October's a very busy month for any location that has haunted activity. But we did a lot of festivals and events again in that month, and met a lot of great people. Had a lot of great exposure from some of those events. So thank you to everybody who came out and visited with us, or purchased some of our merchandise, or even just to come to experience the jail there in October. And as Miranda said earlier, that was the month where we officially moved into the bank building and really set up our our gift shop here, our ticketing here, and moved over here and really made this our base of operations for the jail. And it just allows us to tell more stories from Huntsville holistically, more so than what we did at the jail.
Yeah, I'm gonna blame Parker
Jones
for
Jones,
that.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, and so like Chris said, we had so much going on during the month of October, and being able to speak at the local high school there about their urban legends and talk about what we're doing at the jail is just another great opportunity for us to do. And then, of course, in November, the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development put us in their listing of the top 7 locations in East Tennessee. So, or actually in Tennessee. Yeah. So December, don't really have a lot to add on that because it just ended. And again, that was another whirlwind of, you'd think we would slow down coming up after October, but November and December were just as busy. And so, noticing some of the comments and all of that over here, and your very kind words. Thank you for all of that. Thank you for your support and for sharing what we're doing out, for coming and visiting us. And as Chris said, purchasing stuff from the gift shop and just, really just mostly getting the word out. That goes a long ways. So, thank you all so much.
Yeah,
for that.
Absolutely. And, the paranormal investigators really are what help us keep our lights on, honestly. The daytime tickets, we love telling the history of the jail. We love telling the haunts of the jail. But the paranormal investigators are those teams that really come and support us financially in a big way. So thank you for all the paranormal investigators who came to investigate the jail in 2024. And for all those who've already booked for 2025, as Miranda said, it's just getting that word out. Getting your YouTube videos out, getting your shout outs on social media, that allows people to know who we are and what we do and really how active our jail is. And, as most of you know, we have a very strict no demon, no demonic, no evil policy, and we're very staunch with that. But it shows you that a paranormal investigation can succeed without those things. A true historic location can have a great reputation that does not include those things. It's just great paranormal activity, unexplained occurrences, and that's what these teams are highlighting. So thank you for doing that. And we have a lot that we're going to share. We now have a series on this show called They Did Time, where we highlight a lot of our paranormal investigation teams and what they found. Some people like not to share their evidence with us, so we go and find them on YouTube or whatever they post, but some really do, and they're very proud of that. So we're going to share a couple of clips here now. These are just a taste of some of the stuff that happened to some of our teams in 2024.
Yeah, and we love spotlighting those teams as well because, as you know, a lot of you are members of the paranormal community, and there's a lot of us, but it is a small, tight-knit community. And so, we can all learn from each other, from just different techniques and such. And we hope when we put these teams out there that they're visiting the jail, that you'll go and follow and like their pages and see what they're doing. And then too, if you are a member of that community, that you will reach out to us with your captures and such, because when we go on our flashlight tours, we talk about things that people have captured and highlight those teams on those tours as well. So it really works well in a cross-promotional fashion.
And I'm gonna knock the microphone over. Silly.
Yeah, it really works well in a cross-promotional fashion. So so we're just going to highlight a few of those tonight. Going to talk just a little bit about the teams. Most of these that we're going to talk about, you probably have heard of these teams before. But let me just make sure I've not missed any comments here before we get to those. April, there is a lot you can do this month. Like I said, we are chock full: escape room, guided ghost hunts, private paranormal investigations, day and night, every single day of the week during the month of January. We are only open for day tours during Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern time. But if you have a group and you want to come join us, you're more than welcome to. Just we will have a number where you can call, and Chris and I will make every best effort, one of us, to come and open the jail during the day. So a lot of things you can do during the month of January that we'll be talking about here.
My buddy Carter. Carter, thank
Yeah.
you. We appreciate it. It was great seeing you, and Lance, thank you for coming and hanging out. It was a real fun time. That's my twin buddy from Twinsburg. He and his brother Coleman are great friends of my twin and I. So thank you, Carter, for all of your support.
Yeah, and got a lot of states represented here, seeing Georgia and South Carolina, North Carolina, Michigan. So we got Massachusetts up here. And thank you, Bob. I mean, I just can't say enough good things about our buddy Bob and some of the cool things we've got planned up here. That's because of him.
Mhm.
So thank you. And hope that you all do plan to come and visit us this year.
Love to have you.
I know Margie is a great storyteller and author, and so we've definitely love to have you all out here. So kind of getting to some of our folks that we're going to highlight tonight that they did some time here at the jail. Hopefully soon we may highlight some on rugby, but right now we're just kind of highlighting on the jail. Our first one is an investigator who did come, actually an international investigator, a YouTuber that came down, investigated the jail earlier in December, Mr. Andreas Eskander. I hope I pronounced that right. He and his friends traveled down, and they did an investigation here, released a video. Quick piece that we're going to play from there. They were out investigating. It was a very cold and stormy night, so there's a little bit of sound interference there from the outside weather. But this clip is they were outside in the recreation yard and actually caught a disembodied voice from that area. Not a lot of people investigate the outside yard for whatever reason, usually whether it's weather-based or what have you. But that's what this piece is from. Do you have anything?
He traveled all the way from Canada specifically to investigate at the jail. So thank you, Andreas, for coming down and investigating here.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and pull this up. It's a short clip, so we're probably going to play it through twice. So here we go.
If there's 50 of them and they're all here, like, obviously there's going to be fights breaking out.
Yeah, but yo, guys, it is really dark out here. Yo, like, it seems very, very dark. Turn the light off. Turn the light off. Okay, flashlights off. Guys, it is so creepy. Boom. Hey, yo, no, this is crazy.
We might have to come back out here later and do some sort of investigation in the courtyard.
Did you not hear that? It said come in.
It said come in?
Did you not hear that?
What, wants us to go back inside?
Yo, what the?
Hello?
Yo, I keep saying hello throughout this video like I'm trying to talk to someone that's not there, but like I swear I keep hearing voices.
I mean, it's not uncommon to hear stuff here.
Okay, yo, that was weird.
Glad they didn't close the door on us. I want to sit out here.
Okay, we're inside. We're inside.
I'm just going to play from right here where they heard the voice.
It's quick.
Yeah, it's very quick, and this is one of those moments, Nancy, and some of you others. Definitely, if you need some headphones, I'd put those on now.
Flashlights off. Guys, it is so creepy. Boom. Hey, yo, no, this is crazy.
We might have to come back out here later and do some sort of investigation in the courtyard.
Did you not hear that? It said come in.
It said come in?
Did you not hear that?
Yeah, so that one was very quick. You got to listen right when that second gentleman is starting his next sentence. But if you go back into to his YouTube channel and watch, they did capture some interesting things. Their style is obviously unique to them, a little bit different than what we typically see here. But they did have a really interesting investigation, so they did capture some pretty cool things here.
Yeah, with theirs. A couple that were my favorites that they had captured there, they actually got some really interesting Ovilus responses. I know that the lady's name was Alice, and they did get Alice's name. They said that was the first time that had ever happened. They were investigating the drunk tank area. They also had a lot of REM pod hits in the drunk tank area as they were asking specific questions. And then, interestingly enough, doing the true and false up on the second floor, talking about one of our local cryptid legends of the Scott County Devil. there. They did get some interesting responses on the True and False app. Some of the drawings that it did on that. So, like I said, it was different. It was different. It was a YouTuber that's turned investigator, but interesting nonetheless. Yeah. And so let me actually remove that so I can make room for the others. The other that the next one we're going to highlight. This was a really cool team. Of course, I love all of our teams that come in because they're all unique. But this one was really interesting. They had come and investigated in November, and it was a father, daughter, and several of her friends. They were all they were all fairly young investigators. They were from out of the Stanford, I believe it was it Stanford or Stanford?
Stanford, Kentucky.
Yeah, Stanford, Kentucky, and it was Ghost Beaters. And so just a great energy, and the jail picks up on the great energy that some of these teams bring in. And so one of the things that we seem to capture, especially on the first floor, we've shared several EVPs that have a similar voice and tone to this one. There is a child that's captured on the first floor, usually in the main museum room, and it will go all the way back to the back area. She seems to like females and either young females or motherly type figures. They'll say that they feel someone pulling on their clothes, playing with their hair, and then in 2 instances have even captured disembodied voices that they have actually heard in the moment of this child. And so I think this is a really cool capture.
Yeah, this is a great capture. You're going to hear the investigator say, please stop touching my hair. And this is the EVP that they captured.
Please stop touching my hair.
I'm going to play that again because I think that's just too cool.
Please stop touching my hair.
So as Miranda said, a child's voice is something that is extremely common here. And we're still trying to get an idea of who this child is, but they do frequently say mom or mommy or hello, typically in a child's whisper, such as what we just heard. But that was just absolutely a great capture because obviously there are no children during this investigation. So the fact that they were able to capture a child's voice here, obviously unexplainable, but that's what the jail loves to do. It loves to talk.
Yeah, and I see comments asking for links. I will definitely throw up links to Andreas' video, to this team's page, and also the next folks that we're about to share. So we've got 3 more videos that we're about to share, or 4 videos actually, and they're a little bit longer in length. This is so we talked about Haunted Discoveries and how they had released their episode. Some of you all were able to watch it on the live release. It was on Sling, which broadcasts Haunt TV, unless you're one of the fortunate ones in Canada that was able to see it live as well. But they just released, Haunt TV just released it on YouTube. So you can actually watch the full episode on demand. And we'll share that link to that here shortly. But these are 2 clips from the Haunted Discoveries episode that we found to be pretty fascinating. The first one, so they did a very, very thorough deep dive into the history, which is my favorite part of what they do with the episode. And so, of course, if you all follow Haunted Discoveries, they take a more scientific approach of using scientific equipment. They don't rely a whole lot on EVPs because they do have a film crew that's following them around. That's what's going to make one of these captures so phenomenal, because they rarely do release EVP captures. The first video is when Kevin Audie was up on the 3rd floor. Kevin has a background in law enforcement, and it really seems like he was able to show something that we've known for few years now, that the paranormal or that the entities that are there at the jail seem to really connect with people who are in law enforcement, nursing, or any other type of civil servant type field. So this first one kind of shows some of the spikes that they were getting when Kevin was asking some specific questions. So we'll play it through and talk a little bit about it afterwards.
Well, sounds exciting.
Apparently, I'm about to get jumped out in the yard.
What?
Well, I kind of pulled on the door and asked them to come out with me and asked if I was going to get jumped in the yard. I got a 25 milligauss hit. You're not going to jump me when we get out to the yard, are you? 25.6.
25? We had 12 last time, right? So this is
Basically, the first time I was up here, I had 9.2 or something like that. So I hit 25.
And it was right here where you're standing? The same spot?
It's like a consistent 0.1.2.
2, so a 25. That is crazy.
But so far, the only activity that we've gotten has been when we talked about me being in law enforcement and not being a trusted person.
I think the guy, like...
So, so what we did on that one was we kind of highlighted where he was reviewing his evidence with Brandon, and Mustafa was listening for EVPs there, since the disembodied voices is something that we commonly get up there. This is something a lot of teams have found the last little bit when they're doing sweeps through the jail and taking baseline readings. They'll get just a standard baseline, low number, nothing significant, because, you know, with these thick sandstone walls, not a lot penetrates through, and, you know, Wi-Fi and that sort of thing does not come up on the, it doesn't leave the booking room,
Right.
and it doesn't come up on the second and third floors. So, you know, when you get some kind of spike in EMF, stand up and take notice, because it is something that is somewhat unusual there in the jail. And so Kevin was getting some spikes off the charts, and especially when he started talking about being in law enforcement.
And they're intelligent, right? So if there's going to be a high EMF reading, you expect it to be, you know, pretty standard, right? But this was, he asked the question and it was an automatic response of, it spiked up to 25 milligauss, as he said, which is very high. So you would not expect to see that. Obviously, if the environment has not changed at all, that should not have spiked at all. But yet it's intelligent response to his question. And as Miranda said earlier, law enforcement officers or anybody with a corrections background tends to get those type of responses on the third floor. And to us, it just validates what we see pretty much on a daily basis, or when we have teams that come in that are made up of members of law enforcement.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, that clip kind of ties into this next clip. So while Kevin was up there asking the questions and taking readings, Mustafa was sitting on the backside where we commonly get footsteps and hear disembodied activity there on that third floor. And so while he was listening for that, he ended up hearing something unusual. I think he said he heard two things, but he ends up pointing one of them out. So this is that clip as well. So
I think the guy, I heard like two interesting things when I started the session, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna stop recording, and then maybe we could play it back and you can tell me what you guys think.
Mustafa and I head to the nerve center to review audio from his session.
When Kevin was talking about or asking, like, hey, do you guys like, are you guys gonna like beat me up? When Kevin's like asking, like, hey, are you guys gonna come out here? You want to beat me up? I could have swore like a few seconds after he said that, I hear a male voice say, yeah. Now, I know that there were people outside after that, but it's not the same voice. It's not the same people talking, and it sounds like it's on a different register.
All right, let's play it back.
It's around that's 50, right?
Yep, you said it was around...
I think it's around 13.
13?
Let's listen to what he's saying, but it's around after he says, like, beat somebody up.
was that?
I don't know.
There was like some.
Off?
What the hell is
I
that?
hear off. What did you hear?
Hold on.
Off.
Hold on. No, there's more than just off. Hold on. Oh, off the block. Listen, hold on.
Well, I want to. That is none of our voices.
Yeah, so as Miranda said earlier, Haunted Discoveries really doesn't highlight EVPs that much because there's just a large presence of film crew and staff there. But that is typical of what we get here at the jail. Very audible EVPs, very germane to the moment. So you heard the door slam. I'm not sure what caused the door to slam. It was either Mustafa or one of the crew members, but then you hear that voice behind it that says off the block. Now we refer to the three areas of the upstairs as cell blocks. So it's very routine for us to say when we're on tours, this block here, this block here, this block here. So that makes perfect sense to us when it says off the block, probably referring to somebody outside of one of those cells on that floor or on that block.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Bob, that is exactly accurate. The way that we're set up, we are essentially inside of a giant Faraday box with the sandstone, the iron. It's it is really interesting. There's not a lot of noise contamination. The only noise contamination you really get is if you have a large team. And that's why we limit our numbers to small groups, because it can be echoey between the second and third floors. And when you have a lot of people, it'll carry on. But if you have a small group of people, you don't get a lot of noise interference coming in and a lot of noise interference going out. So that's definitely big thing here. Okay, so I've got to load this, so I'm gonna go ahead and set it up before I load it up so that it doesn't start automatically. The next that we're going to highlight is actually a live investigation that both Christy and I did here back in August. We did a live investigation on the anniversary of Sheriff Richard Ellis's death date when he was shot, bringing in an inmate there. He is one of our resident spirits that we experience both intelligent and residual activity on all three floors. And recently, paranormal teams have been experiencing a lot of activity, especially around the anniversary date on the outside and then also inside in the drunk tank area. So we thought that particular night, I think it was about a 3-hour investigation.
Yeah, it was great live.
Yeah, that we did. We decided that we were going to have dueling tripwires and do basically a dual investigation. I sat outside at the spot where he was shot. Chris was inside at the drunk tank area where a lot of folks do experience intelligent activity from Sheriff Ellis. We set up tripwires at both locations, and we continued to ask questions. We tried to ask them in a roundabout way where one of us would ask questions and see if we were getting responses, and then either we would ask the exact same question outside, or we would ask another completely different question. We found we really didn't have to repeat ourselves very often because we were getting simultaneous interaction on both of our tripwires, as well as getting direct responses outside to questions Chris was answering inside or asking inside, and vice versa.
Yeah, so just a little bit further background. So Miranda was sitting where, like she said, where he was shot in 1925. Where I was sitting was the drunk tank, but at that time in 1925, it would have been the parlor for the sheriff's quarters. So that's where his body would have been taken, and it laid in state for 3 days in that room. So that was a connection there. And we were separated by about 25 feet and 3 walls. So we couldn't see or hear each other, only through our phones, right, which was doing the live.
Yeah.
So, anything that would interfere, it's very, very highly unlikely that anything was strong enough to interfere with both of these tripwires at the same exact time. All we can say is it's unexplainable.
That outside wall too, if you've not been here, it's 3 by 4 by 5 feet thick sandstone blocks. And then inside where Chris was 3 walls deep, it was thick concrete walls. So, pretty fascinating there. I also had the EDI Plus box and flashlights set up. I think, Chris, there was some flashlights in there where you were. And was there anything else in there with you?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Honestly.
So we've got 2 clips of that. It is a much longer session, so we definitely recommend you go. We'll highlight the link to that, but we're going to play the first session now. So let me get that pulled up.
Put these lights into a circle right here around the door.
Flashlight came on in here. Sheriff, did you know that George Foster didn't run? That he stayed right where he was when you were shot? Did you know that?
Sheriff, were you worried about being murdered after your chief deputy, Akers, was killed? Did that worry you that you would be killed as well? The left, yeah, we got tripwire and the left flashlight. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Mine was going off in here too. Thank you. Sheriff, were you scared that night? Whoa. Thank you. This is crazy. He was scared that night. I'm sorry.
I know that there were, wow, the flashlight I was on was really bright on the left. Sheriff, I read where you
We're going to stop that real quick.
On back.
Stop that first.
We actually heard just an EVP. We have not heard this before. Right when I say, were you scared that night? I think we caught a yes. Thank you. This is crazy. He was scared that night.
Actually, I'm going to go back just a little bit.
No, there it was right there.
Okay, here we go.
You scared that night? Whoa. Thank you. This is crazy. He was scared that night. There. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Wow. And the flashlight.
And the flashlight. That's crazy. We had not noticed that before.
Really bright on the left. Sheriff, I read where you were, go ahead and step on back, please. Go ahead and step on back so we can ask. Okay, thank you. Sheriff, I read that there were 2 shootouts that took place in the months leading up to your murder that you were involved in. Did that worry your wife? Was she afraid for your safety?
Sheriff, was your wife scared for you? Did she ask you not to go after the moonshiners?
Okay, we've got some questions here.
Did your wife support you? Did your wife support you in being the sheriff? I got my tripwire lit up.
My tripwire lit up.
That's awesome. Y'all, we're in two different places and we got tripwire activity, dueling tripwire activity.
Yeah. Okay, here's a good question. How can we help solve this murder? Where should we be looking, and who should we be talking to? Can you give me a name on the obelisk or a location? How can we help you?
Sheriff, can your murder be solved? Yes.
Oh my gosh, found. This is found.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Y'all, this is kick ass. This is
And arrived. Found and arrived.
Okay, so Sheriff, do they already know who killed you?
I'll ask out here.
Okay.
Sheriff, do they already know who killed you? There was somebody who was arrested, but he was not found guilty. His last name was Keaton.
Was
he innocent?
Was a Keaton responsible for your death, Sheriff?
Oh, I got a hit on the EDI box.
Sheriff, we'll ask one more time. Touch the lights if a Keaton was involved.
No.
No. Wow.
So they got the wrong man. Oh, I got that tripwire lit up.
I got one hit on a tripwire out here.
I did too.
This is crazy.
This is really eerie, and I don't know if it's.
All right, so we have one more before we talk about this clip. And this is sort of a continuation, skipping ahead, because I wanted to make sure to show that we weren't just getting hits every time we asked questions on that. I thought this one was pretty interesting as well. So this is continuing on with that session, and it's a shorter clip.
Have you allowed yourself to be seen in your current state? Have you allowed people to see you?
I got pressure hits.
Can you please touch the lights in front of me if people have seen you since your death? Have people heard you? Have you allowed people to hear you?
Flashlight sliding up.
Do you enjoy that we're telling your story and keeping your story alive? Wow.
Oh, lit up out here and in there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff Ellis, did you know that we have had 14 local officers killed in the line of duty? That's a lot of officers for a small town. You and your police chief in Oneida were two of those. But did you know that we have had 14 officers killed in the line of duty? Does that make you mad?
Sheriff, do you get mad when officers are killed in the line of duty?
You had a very tough job at a very tough time, like we said earlier. It was just a different time than we have now. We got some more questions here.
All right.
Yeah. So if you have not watched that live, it did last a while, but Laura, yeah, we had some great activity there, great evidence. Now, obviously, the tripwire did not light up when we asked if we'd seen him or heard him, but we do think that he is very prevalent inside the jail. We do believe that we have a couple of pictures of him, as well as some disembodied voices that we can't explain that we do attribute to him. So, that tripwire experience was unlike anything that I've ever experienced. The fact that we were able to be in two different locations, again, separated by about 20 feet and 3 walls, 2 of which were concrete. 1 is a solid sandstone brick wall. And to be able to get those responses on 3 different pieces of equipment simultaneously is something that we just can't explain. So we do think the jail is something that is pretty incredible when it comes to activity and letting us know that something's there.
Yeah, and I got to say, this past year, the lives that we were able to conduct at the jail were pretty phenomenal. We did one on the day of the solar eclipse, which was a lot of fun to see if we were able to get some different activity, because this would have been during the middle of the day. We also had, we did a live, we actually did two different lives, where one, I was alone in the building and Chris was moderating it from Virginia. We actually caught a shadow figure on that live. A lot of you, we had about 50 people watching that saw it at the time. Chris did a live. I don't think I was in the building, was I?
Which one are we talking about?
There was a live that you did there. I'm trying to remember.
I don't think so.
No, I was sick and I was at home.
That's right.
And
That's right.
so she did a live. We like to try to kind of rotate that out. We did lives at Historic Rugby, where we got quite a bit of activity as well. And then we did this live for on Sheriff Ellis's anniversary date. And so I'm going to let Chris kind of talk about that real quick, and then I'm going to pull up
which one?
Pull up the page, so the links
to
all of this stuff.
Yeah, and so that's, as Miranda said earlier, that's something that we like to do here is really try to see if we get activity on anniversary dates, whether it be birth dates of infamous characters from the jail or death dates. We really try to look at those anniversaries and use those as almost like trigger items in and of themselves. So, we believe that we have both intelligent and residual hauntings at the jail. And it seems that a lot of the intelligent hauntings do occur when we do stuff on anniversary dates. So that's why we really look at our stories, we look at our history, and when we can go and investigate on those anniversary dates, that's what we love to do. So if you have not seen that live with the tripwires, Miranda just put the link on there. It's really cool. Like I said, we've both been paranormal investigators for decades, and I've never experienced anything like that. So I'm really proud of that live that we were able to do.
Yeah, and we did some other cool experiments on that live. Yeah. We used the Seer app.
Yeah.
And what we tried to do on all of this was segregate ourselves onto different floors when we did it. We were never at the same place at the same time. We were always separated either by outside walls or by floors. And that was really cool to see if what we were doing in one area, if it would affect the other. And so I put the link to that video, but if you go to the Historic Scott County Jail YouTube page and click under the live tab right there, it is the live anniversary investigation. It's got Sheriff Richard Ellis's picture on it. And like I said, it was about a 3-hour live. And we even broke out some moonshine, and we got some interesting stuff when we broke the moonshine.
Oh yeah. This location, if you have not investigated it, or if you have, if you've investigated it, that trigger items are really popular here, whether it be cigarettes or moonshine or music, or pictures or different things, different articles that are on the walls that you read here. It's just incredible. It really has been a fun journey to be a part of for these last 3 years. And I just can't wait to see what 2025 holds. But
and just as a little tidbit of information for anyone that's coming here, we are no longer a dry county. Sorry, Sheriff Ellis. I know that was a passion thing for you, but we are no longer a dry county, and so it's kind of interesting. I've told teams this when they come. So obviously we've been a wet county for about 2 months now. So it's interesting to see how that activity has affected or how that has changed activity. And with one of our new exhibits that we're getting ready to put in there, a authentic moonshine still, we're interested to see if that's going to change the activity as well. So I just pulled that up. Chris, if you will continue talking about just ad lib for a minute
and it's really kind of fun because what moving up to the bank building has allowed us to do is actually make new displays such as the one that Miranda was talking about. So we do have an authentic moonshine still. We will be putting that back together here in this next month. We're really taking January to pump up our displays over at the jail. So an authentic moonshine still will be something that we put in there. Obviously, we have some things related to our 911 call center that we'll be highlighting as well. And it's just going to be a lot of fun putting these things together, highlighting more history from Scott County, as well as the jail itself. So getting the bank building was a real bonus because it allows us to open more rooms there. Also, if you investigated prior to us getting the bank building, you know that one of us would sit there in the gift shop with you. Now we are a little bit more removed, so you do have the entire building. We're about 100 feet away in the bank building, so we will keep in contact with you via walkie-talkie, but you essentially have the jail to yourself now, which is pretty cool, and you do have a couple more rooms, more so than you did before we got the bank building.
Yep, and I'm just sharing again some of these links. This is Andreas Eskander, and that was the link to his page where, like I said, he's a YouTuber, so he's a little bit different than our style, but, in the community nonetheless. And so the link to his is in the show notes here, or we will update in the show notes with these, but it's also in the comments section here. And last but not least, we will be showing or sharing the link with a post to this one tomorrow. If you did not catch the Haunted Discoveries episode there, you can go to the Haunt TV YouTube page, and there is the link to that. So and a link to a lot of, I think all of their full episodes, all of 1 through season 3 is located on there. So you'll see different locations from all over Kentucky, as Chris said, and then on down into Tennessee. So we're really excited that that's been released and that's out now. So
and again, that's something that we're really proud of and excited about. And we just thank all of our paranormal investigators, all of our content creators, everybody who supported us. You have made this possible. We're out here really trying to obviously be the face of the historic Scott County Jail and historic Rugby After Dark. But without you all and your support, it wouldn't be anything. So thank you so much for what you do, how you support us, how you get the word out, how you come and investigate, how you come and visit, how you visit the gift shop, everything that you've done, how you support Little Sally. Thank you. It means the world. So thank you for that.
Yeah. So help us get these view counts up, support these content creators. And then too, on the other hand, I did not forget Ghost Speeders. I don't think that they have a YouTube page for their stuff, but like I said, we will share this stuff in the show notes as well. So
yep. So just so everybody can see Little Sally, so she can give everybody a proper hello. Right now she looks like a little groundhog. She's so chubby. All the paranormal investigation teams keep bringing her little treats. So Sally is very robust, but she does say hello to everybody. And again, we thank you so much for supporting her.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, as Chris said, we are on our winter schedule now. We are only open during the days, or only open for daytime tours on Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we are open every night for paranormal investigations, escape rooms, guided ghost hunts, flashlight tours, and you can find all of that, as we've been saying throughout the hour, on the historyhighwayshaunts.com website. On that, you'll go on there and you will either select rugby or you will select the jail, and then you can do all your bookings. If you're interested in doing a lantern tour at the Village of Historic Rugby, we don't have dates on the calendar. We've already said that already, but we don't have dates on the calendar. But if you will call the number or email us at any of the either through the website or at historyhighwayshaunts@gmail.com, we can get you hooked up. We do ask that during these cold months that you have 4 or more people to do those tours, and we will definitely get you hooked up on one of our lantern tours there at the jail, or excuse me, at Rugby, either during the day or at night. So
Yeah, we'd love to have you. But again, thank you all so much. You made 2024 so special, and I know that 2025 is just going to be epic, and we just cannot wait to see everybody, to get paranormal investigators here, to welcome you to the jail and to Rugby. But just your support, like I said, it just means a lot.
Yeah, and I do want to say that we've got some really great shows planned. We hope you guys enjoy these Thursday night shows. We try to have guests on there. Sometimes you just spend the hour listening to us. But I do want to make sure to mention, go back, check out our episodes, past episodes. We're on episode 66 right now of the Jailhouse Informant podcast, and we're broadcasting here on the Historic Scott County Jail YouTube, Facebook page, and also on Historic Rugby After Dark. And just kind of looking at a little bit of stats on this, we highlighted 12 other jails from not only around the country, but around the world this past year. That's kind of a passion project of mine and Chris's with this podcast, is reaching out to other jails and highlighting those, what they're doing, how they're bringing life to these other jails and prisons from around the world. And we have been honored to speak to some really cool and unique places. So if you will go onto our YouTube channel and look those out, I've tried to separate those into specific playlists on our jail stories, but we've got more of those coming up next year. And again, if you have somebody that you would like for us to highlight on the show, we would love to do that. Also, throughout the year, we had multiple families visit the jail that have had connections to the jail in some form or fashion. A lot of them have been either former jailers, or one was a family who's the guy who came, organized during his family reunion to have his family come here because his grandma was born in the jail. Her parents were jailer and cook. What is going on? Was a jailer and cook there at the jail. And so his grandma was born there. And when these folks come into the jail, the coolest part about it is hearing the different stories that they're able to share with us, because we only know a portion of it. And we know what you tell us, and it changes depending on the year that you were in there, because they changed the jail, the structure of it so much. So we were honored to have at least 5 different families that had connections to the jail come in. Some of them put items on loan and on donation to us, which, again, we're working on getting those beautifully displayed here during the months of January and February. And others came in and shared their stories. So that was really cool to be able to do that. So just be on the lookout for some of those new exhibits, because if you think you've seen the jail before, we do have new things that's coming up here at the end of January that hopefully you'll come out and see it.
And
So
there may be some items that lend to activity. You never know.
that is true.
But again, thank you all so much. Yeah, James, Shelly does speak sometimes. She lets us know when she's hungry. She lets us know when she wants to go out. So she can speak certain things when she wants to. And yeah, thank you, Beth. She is very cute. And we do call her, Diane, we do call her robust. We don't use the chunky word or the fat word around her. She's robust.
I don't know. I call her chonky.
Yeah.
She's
the Shelly
but
bean.
she's losing some weight. So
Shelly,
so that's really good. She is losing some weight. But yes, and Nancy does bring up a good point, weather permitting. I do want to make sure to mention we are a 2-person ran jail or organization, and we are in the mountains of rural East Tennessee. And so we do have some pretty severe weather that's being predicted over the next couple of weeks, some extremely cold temperatures and some extremely high amounts of snow that's supposed to be coming. It's kind of hard to predict that far out, so you never know if that's going to be the case. But we do suggest, and we have it all over our website, if you are traveling to see us during these cold winter months, basically January to mid-March, if you're traveling then, even if it is a date that we're scheduled to be open, if you're traveling a significant distance, please call us, because there may be some instance that we're having to close because of the roads or the extremely cold temperatures. So I do just want to make sure to mention that, everyone be safe in your neck of the woods, but definitely check with us, since it is pretty unpredictable up here on the Cumberland Plateau, to say the least. So.
All right. Well, again, thank you all for hanging with us. We really appreciate it. Again, thank you for all your support in what we do. And we shall see you next week.
Yep. We will be back on our normal time next week at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So take care, everyone. I will be doing another Ghost Biker Garage show. It'll probably be tomorrow night. This spot took the place of that one. So it'll probably be tomorrow night at 9 or 10. We do have an investigation tomorrow night, so we got to work that in between that. So until next week, we hope everyone has a wonderful and blessed week.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.